So the one thing that my wife Sharon's really good at is she reminds the children about the importance of not riding the highs too high and the lows too low. And I think that's a really good piece of advice for all parents who have children that want to aspire, whether it's sport or education or a job.
Yeah.
You can't get carried away. 1 week's a long time in elite sport.
Mm-hmm.
1 week you could be, all over the news, and the following week you're not part of the team, and the week after that you're injured and you're back in there again. So it's very much an emotional roller coaster. So I think for us, what we try and remind our children is, the most important thing is faith first, and then family second, and friends, and then football. And then at the end, there might be some finance, because ultimately it's a job for them and they can't rely on their mother and their father to pay all their bills. So at some point in their life, they need to become independent. So everything that we do is always about that first, faith first, and then family second, and then there's friends, and then, then when there's football, and then we worry about the finances later. Yeah, they are all F words, and it's far out as well,
But I like to hear that finances comes quite a few sections later because, for most people, for a lot of people, success, we tie that to financial success. And we know that that's not the case really when it comes to the pursuit of joy. I'm going to cut there. The pursuit of joy.
Yeah.
The pursuit of joy and happiness. So what's your understanding of success?
Yeah, I think success is very much a very big umbrella. And I think there are a number of pillars that fall under the word success. Are we talking about success at school and in your UAI or in your degree? Are we talking about success in your career? Is it success in a relationship? Is it success in picking up a musical instrument and learning how to play it? Is that success? Or are we defining success by the number of zeros you have in your bank account? And sometimes I think we might be swayed one way or the other depending on your upbringing, depending on your social environment, depending on your community, what you see, what you read, what you allow yourself to take in. But there's definitely multiple pillars to success. And then it's also relative. If a young child reaches their full potential and is only able to ever play in the state competition, that's something that for me is very successful. If a player plays at the national level and never really applies themselves, then for me they're not really that successful because they haven't realised their full potential. So success is not just being in a pillar, but it's also relative to the blessings that God's given you. And if He's given you a talent and you choose not to apply that talent to the best of your ability, I'm not sure how successful that is. But, we sort of touched on how some communities place additional emphasis on their financial success being the pillar of their life success. But in essence, I remember reading something that said, I would rather die with 1 million people at my funeral and $1 in the bank than one person at my funeral and $1 million in the bank.
Yeah.
And I remember reading that 30 years ago, and that stuck to me because we're all chasing some type of financial freedom.
Yeah.
But at what sacrifice and at what point,
Yeah, I think that's a massive one in our community, Ray. And I know we've talked about it a little bit before around, at what point and at what cost are we chasing the dollar, particularly when, we've come from the villages. Our parents are from the same village. They've come from absolute poverty and achieved a lot very rapidly in one generation. They worked really, really hard to better themselves and to break the cycle of poverty. But it's like we've now perpetuated a cycle of success and wealth that is trapped us more than previously. And I see that the joy that they had with nothing is being lost. And now that we have everything, there's been so many layers that have been stripped away because of that success in such a rapid time.
Yeah, we spoke about balance earlier.
Yeah.
And this sort of also ties into getting the balance right between work life, financial freedom, family life, faith life, friends life, fitness life. There's the F's again.
Yeah.
So getting that balance right, I think, is really important. And I don't know the words exactly, but it's something like, tough times create tough people.
Yeah, that's right.
And tough people create good times, and good times create weak people, and weak people create tough times, and the cycle starts again.
Yeah.
And I may not have recited that word for word, but the concept is, if you've brought up in an environment where you've really had to work for everything, one, you appreciate everything that you've got.
Yeah.
But then if you grow up in an environment where everything's handed to you, are you as a parent really disabling your children?
Yeah.
Are you giving them everything that they need whenever they need it? Is that disabling or is that loving?
Yeah, we had Will and Buddy in one of our previous sessions talking about like doing an episode for the teens and talking about how there's this concept of being underformed and that the parents, like including myself, we coddle too much and we don't allow them to make the mistakes or fall. And I asked, like, is there a way to fall safely? Because, as a parent, it's hard to watch your child fall. But you're right in that, we need to cultivate the resilience. The resilience used to just be as a product of life before. Like, people had to survive. They had to build that resilience. Now it's like we have to teach the resilience. It's not something that just comes to you anymore.
Yeah, look, being 30 years in competitive environment, most people won't like what I'm about to say, but I'm not sure who brought out the participation ribbon. Because for me, you need to reward success.
Yeah.
And if success is a ribbon and that's the reward, well done, because I worked harder than you. But I think if you're not rewarded by a ribbon, there's also intrinsic rewards. There is the feeling of satisfaction that, wow, I trained and I did well and I actually completed this race. I actually played in this team. So you may not have had a trophy or a ribbon or a certificate, but the reward should be more internal. It should be an intrinsic type of reward that we feel. So if we, as parents, focus on the intrinsic reward more so than the end result,
physical one.
I think we're more likely to build more resilient children who know that, wow, I didn't come first and I'm not going to get a ribbon, but I'm so proud of myself that I sacrificed 3 days a week for the last 7 months for this race. And even though I didn't receive a ribbon, I'm really proud of myself because that takes discipline. It takes sacrifice. And those discipline and sacrifice you apply in sport, you also need in relationships. You also need in business. You also need in education. You also need in your faith. So those tools, I think, can cover a whole plethora of different components in your life.
And also the ability to fail. And fail well, like, and pick up and go again, start again. Okay, I didn't win that one. I did try really hard. I was disciplined. I just didn't make it over the line for this one. It's okay.
Yeah, so I talk to the kids about you either win or you learn. You don't win and lose. You either win or you're learning something. What did I not do well today? Was it me? Was it my sleep? Was it my hydration? Was it my preparation? Was my mindset not where it needed to be? Did I stay out longer than what I should have? Did my teammate let me down, or am I just making that as an excuse? So I think every time you don't win at a sport or you don't come first, there's a learning opportunity. And business is the same. If you failed in business, you're not going to do the same thing again, expect a different result. It's always learning. And I think as parents, it's a lot easier to give your children what they want whenever they want it. It takes energy to discipline them and say no. And I hope this generation of parents understands that loving your children is not about giving them what they want when they want it. Because love is about discipline. It's about teaching them what's right from wrong, not getting what you want when you want it.
But loving them through that. So it's about, you're right, being firm and disciplined, but also being loving. Because the firm and the discipline by itself is not our ideal outcome, and the love and all the yeses by itself is not our ideal outcome. We need both together.
Yeah, I'm definitely not talking about smacking the children discipline. I'm talking about saying no, you can't. And you need to do this in order for you to get to this. There needs to be clearly defined guidelines about rewards for things that you want. Look, I remember my first car was an $800 EH Holden that I bought from Penrith with an engine in the back seat of the car. And I was doing my HSC at the time, and I thought, once I finish my HSC, I'm going to work on this car. It was an $800 car. It was red. It was back in 1992, 93, when some of your listeners were alive and others weren't. And the year after that, and 10 years after that, and the 10 years after that, I've just seen how children's first cars have changed.
Yeah.
And each to their own. I'm not here to judge anybody and everything, but what's the next step for
Yeah.
the child? Where do they go? Do they start here? And what's the next step? And a safe car is a great car. If it's safe, it's great.
Yeah.
But a car doesn't have to do 280 kilometres an hour when a P-plate, it can only travel at 80 and 90. So,
Yeah. That's right.
you know, that's just a simple example of how sometimes we just need to say no to the child and get them to wait, because that's a skill in itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's difficult. How do you trying to find staff, young staff that want to work
Yeah.
at a cafe is exceptionally difficult. Or stock shelves in a grocery store is very difficult.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to become a manager and a supervisor as
Yeah.
their first job. So what does that tell us about how they're being brought up, whether at school, in society, what they see as parents? So